another episode of Business Trends on NTA Abuja Channel 5. I am Sikeola Ipinnaiye. The program keeps you abreast of business development in the country and, of course, in the nation's capital, Abuja. Today, as usual, promises to be engaging as we highlight major happenings in the economy and business world. It is still the Democracy Week in Nigeria, so we will be looking at some trade policies of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in boosting trade and encouraging entrepreneurship in the country. Today, in the chat room, we have a very vibrant personality, Barrister Ken Ukoaha, President National Association of Nigerian Traders, who will take us through our discussions bordering on trade, investment, and industrialization. Today, before we go into the discussions, let's see what's trending in the business arena. There will also be a feature on some activities of Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, the agency charged with the development of small and medium businesses in the country. And this program is reaching you courtesy of Smedan.
Brother, what's happening? You're not looking so good. Life after school has been very difficult. Honestly, see, I can't even take care of myself. Look, I can't even shave. I'm so confused right now. I set up a furniture business and it collapsed. I'm beginning to think someone is after me. It could be from the village. No, I don't think anybody's after you. You see, business sometimes just need guidance and mentoring. See, have you heard of this agency called Smedan? See, Smedan is a government agency that specializes in giving business training to micro, small, medium level business owners. Wow, John, hold on. Smedan trains you, create market for you, to link you with suppliers of raw materials to manufacturers and producers to consumers. Smedan facilitates agricultural commodity exchange and even promote Nigerian-made goods abroad and here in Nigeria. Smedan connects young entrepreneurs like you to financial sources so they can have access to loan. John, I want to be like you. Take me to Smedan right now. Let's go. Where's the way? Is this way? Let's go.
Smedan is located on number 35 Port Harcourt Crescent off Gimbia Street, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. It also has offices in each capital of the 36 states of the Federation, or visit www.smedan.gov.ng. This message is brought to you by the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, Smedan.
Now, let's see what's trending in the business world. Following the approval by the National Economic Council for a fresh cash injection of $650 million into the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, managers of the Sovereign Wealth Fund, Nigeria's savings in the fund since its establishment 7 years ago has risen to $2.15 billion. President Muhammadu Buhari, who affirmed this in his Democracy Day broadcast, said the expansion of the Sovereign Wealth Fund project portfolio by $650 million was to strengthen the authority's investment in infrastructure. In order to ensure that eligible travelers are able to access foreign exchange and make liquidity available in the market, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has mandated all deposit money banks to buy and sell foreign exchange to travelers, both customers and non-customers, upon presentation of relevant valid travel documents such as visa and ticket over the counter. The statement, signed by the Acting Director Corporate Communications of the Apex Bank, Isaac Okorafor, maintained that all travelers shall be attended to immediately at the bank's counter and that any contravention shall be sanctioned by the CBN. The statement, which indicated that compliance to the directive is compulsory, also says that all BDCs shall henceforth access Forex from the CBN on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and that any BDC that fails to access the Forex window at least 3 times weekly shall have its license reviewed by the CBN. Meanwhile, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has led a team of bank examiners to inspect bank level of compliance to the Forex sales regulations. The CBN governor, who conducted on-the-spot assessment of Forex sales in some banks, warned that any bank that denied customers with legitimate need for Forex will be appropriately sanctioned. Recall the CBN had recently ordered banks not to deny genuine travelers personal travel allowance and business travel allowance, as there are enough dollar supplies to meet the demand, and enjoined customers to report any bank that refuses to attend to their legitimate demands within 24 hours. The bond market opened the week on a relatively quiet note with very little trades executed in the market. Treasury bills market, on the other hand, traded on a significantly bullish note with some demand witnessed on the short end of the curve. And in the forex market, the interbank rate depreciated by 0.02% to 305 naira 95 kobo to a dollar from its previous rate of 305 naira 90 kobo to the dollar. This was despite the CBN's wholesale intervention sales of $210 million in the market. The forex closing rate remained stable at its previous rate of 361 naira 57 kobo to the dollar. Now to what's trending in the open market. Miriam Emeka Amadi visited the popular farmers market here in Maitama, Abuja, but reported that the purpose of establishing the market may have been defeated, as buyers in the market say farm produce in the market are on the high side.
There are many markets in their city where fruits and vegetables are sold, but the farmers' market is said to be unique. The fruit and vegetable market, as often called, is located at Yetsaram Crescent off Ibrahim Babangida Way, Maitama. It is small in terms of shopping arcade, but mighty as it is patronized by some elites and other nationals. What distinguishes this market from other markets is the way fruits and vegetables are attractively displayed. It also prides itself as the only farmers' market in the territory. The market was built to provide an opportunity for farmers to sell their produce directly to the residents at cheaper rate without the impediment of the middlemen.
And it was commissioned in 2008 as a pilot project, which is expected to be replicated in other districts. It was tailored to be suitable to the kind of product that we sold there. So it was airy, it was ample space, where they can showcase what they have. Then underneath it, you have storage facilities.
The aim of setting up the market is being defeated, as those who patronize the market say fruits and vegetables are expensive, but are consoled by their freshness.
Very expensive, too high price. Every year the same thing. Given to Tokyo 5 kg price, you go put skill 3.5 kg. No correct.
The place is clean. You don't see many flies like you see in the open market. In fact, I just brought this okra. It looks so nice, but this is 200 naira. Somewhere else is maybe 50 naira. But just because it's looking fresh and attractive.
Has all the requirements you need as far as fruits are concerned. And in fact, you get the best ones, the fresh ones.
Some of the fruit sellers said they are happy with the business as they are paying their bills.
I used to take my responsibilities by myself.
I've been in this market for at least 3 years now. Any type of fruit and vegetable we come here, we get it. It's an affordable price.
So I can see at least I spend at least 6 to 5 years. It is not a little thing. I enjoy it and I'm benefiting it.
Research indicates that there are farmers' markets all over the world. It dates back to Egypt over 5,000 years ago. Farmers along the Nile came together to sell their fresh produce. The rest, they say, is history. The biggest farmers' market in the world is believed to be in Tokyo and boasts of over 1,700 stalls.
Though expensive, but very fresh, so it's a matter of choice. And from Smedan Corner, the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, says Nigerian government, through the agency, is embarking on various programs to further develop the small and medium sector of the Nigerian economy. The Director General of SMEDAN, Dr. Umaru Diko Rada, who was speaking at a roundtable discussion with Abuja chapter of ABU Alumni Association said the One Local Government, One Product, All Up and the Conditional Grant Scheme CGS program of SMEDAN, among others, are geared towards formalizing and growing most businesses in that sector.
The essence of All Up is to identify in each local government a product which has comparative and competitive advantage within that local government, who form themselves into an organic cluster. When we identify such organic clusters, we did a need assessment, find out what do they need to grow their business, what do they need to expand their business, and then mostly we found out that they lack basic machines to produce more of their product. In some cases, they even don't have.
Dr. Rada, who pointed out that SMEDAN mostly offers technical support to grow businesses, said the agency is working towards injecting the financial component to ensure a complete circle of support to SMEs. He added that the agency is working with the National Assembly towards amending the SMEDAN Act to enable it, like other such agencies across the globe, to be able to seek funding from different quarters to accomplish its mandates more effectively.
If we are able to get this act to be amended, we will have a very new beginning in the development of MSME in the country. The funding is being expected from companies, large companies all over the country, because they have to give back where they belong or to where they started. Because most of these big companies, they started as small businesses. So in most of the countries all over the world, they fund the development of MSMEs all over.
Those are trending issues for now. The program will continue. It's been 19 years of democracy in Nigeria and of course 3 years into President Muhammadu Buhari's regime. And one area of the economy that this administration has prided itself in is in the area of diversification of the economy, and trade is a key aspect of diversification when we talk about manufacturing, agriculture and industrialization generally. So in today's edition of the program, we will be looking at trade in these 3 years of our democracy. And with me in the studio to delve on this is a trade lawyer and of course the president of National Association of Nigerian Traders. So you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Sikeola.
Okay, we're looking at issues around trade, and we just celebrated Democracy Day, and it's been 19 years of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria, and 3 years into President Muhammadu's regime. President Muhammadu Buhari's regime. Can you just reflect on the trade policies in this administration?
Okay, in my own estimation, I would say 3 days down the line, we have seen a kind of domestic integration of trade. We have seen some level of diversification of the economy through trade. We have also seen the fact that trade has helped Nigeria come out of recession quickly, in fact more quicker than was expected. And in all of this, we have seen, for instance, an integration of agriculture into trade, commodity trade, as well as other related aspects of trade in terms of manufacturing. Now, specifically, if you look at agriculture, for instance, you will see that Nigeria is doing well now. I take one commodity as an instance. In rice production, you can see that Nigeria is lifting above what was expected earlier. Whereas the ERGP, the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, speculates that Nigeria would be self-sufficient in rice production by 2020. You will also see that a few years back, in 2014 specifically, we had about local need, domestic need for rice was about 6.5 million metric tons. Today is about 6.8 million metric tons that is required domestically. But the point is this: in that 6.5 million metric tons that we had as our national domestic need in 2014, today what we have is that, I mean, as at that time we had only 2.5 million metric tons out of the 6.5, you know, and therefore we had a gap of 4 million metric tons, very huge, that was being imported into this country. But today the gap is reducing to the point that we need today just about a million metric tons thereabout to show up for our domestic requirement, and that means it is working. That means the diversification of the economy is moving. If you also look at indices, you know, you will also discover that trade, services trade, manufacturing trade are the two sectors, and agriculture also, were the three sectors that helped Nigeria to move out of, you know, recession quickly. So to that extent, you will discover that trade has come to play a major role in the administration and has gone people.
So what policies will you say that the government has put in place that help to boost
that
trade?
Policy is our import substitution agenda, import substitution policy, which seeks to reduce importation, which seeks to, you know, domesticate our production, which seeks to empower the people, create more jobs with trade. The three aspects of trade, in terms of agriculture, manufacturing, and distribution, the three sectors, subsectors coming together in alignment has tended to reduce unemployment.
The issues, I think value addition is another key issue, considering the fact that we export mainly crude substances.
Absolutely, absolutely. Raw products are, you know, being exported, and for that I think is not an agenda that could be, you know, consummated at a point on the immediate. And I think this is where some state governments would need to come in. Processing, SME development, small, medium, and, you know, medium enterprises development. This is where we need to come in. Processing, you know, and once we process these commodities, they go out of their raw state, and then it will increase our earnings at the international market, and you know, boost our foreign reserve as well. But I think the state governments as well as the FCT could also leverage on this. There are a lot of, you know, agri-produce coming out from FCT at this moment as we speak. A lot, and a lot. If you go to Yaba, for instance, in Abaji, a lot of you know, agri-produce is coming out from that end. If you go to Buhari, a lot. If you go to the end of Baglada, between Baglada and Niger State, you know, a lot. If you cross the river over there, a lot of, you know, agri-produce are coming in from that end, and most of these are not really, you know, penciled down. They are not being calculated. I think the FCT has an opportunity there. The FCT government and the, you know, the authorities, the local councils would need to leverage on these opportunities there. Put up, for instance, processing companies, factories in a small scale manner, and then this will also boost economy of the FCT, boost, you know, employment, and then create a facility which you have people coming in to buy most of this.
Thank you, Barrister Ken Ukoaha. I know issues of trade are not those that one can just knock off in a moment, but we'll still have another time, and there will still be another avenue to talk about it. But before we go, I want you to talk about prospects of trade. There are people out there that know you as a trader and see you on this platform, and we want to know, you know, what are the prospects in there to be a trader like you?
It is a very potential arena. Potential in the sense that it has a lot of prospects. But one of the things I advise people who want to move into trade is read your books first, study. Don't come into trade as an illiterate. The more polished you are, the more educated you are, the better you are informed. Trade has gone beyond buying and selling. There are a lot of intrigues in this trade contemporarily. And if you don't understand them, for instance, trade policies, you need to understand trade policies before you jump into trade. You need to understand trade agreements before you jump into trade. If not, just one policy will throw you out and throw you back to where you're coming from. And if you have borrowed money from the bank, for instance, and come into trade, you have your hands on your head. Where did you spend it? How did you spend it? Just one policy of government can throw you off balance. And that's where the importance of the country looking at our trade policies, looking at our trade agreements, being cautious before you enter into any trade agreement comes into play also. You also need to look at the kind of people you are signing agreement for. Majority of traders today, majority of manufacturers today in Nigeria, about more than 90% of them are semi-illiterates. And I'm sorry to say this. I mean, it's a fact. And therefore, if you are representing them, please go back to them, consult them. There are a lot of practical things that they know that technocrats do not understand. Practical trade, evolution of that. There are a lot of things, and therefore, I believe that there are a lot of prospects in trade. But the first thing is understanding the dynamics, the rudiments of trade, and it requires some level of
study,
education.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What about the prospects in the FCT?
Well, incidentally, FCT appeared earlier to be elitist rather, and the population of FCT today, you can see many people flying in, like I said earlier. The population is increasing, and more people uneducated are coming in. Those who are, displaced from other, some of the crises in this country are coming in to take refuge in the FCT, and the immediate available opportunity for them is going to trade, because the white collar jobs are diminishing. They go into trade, either trade in services sector trade, or commercial trade, buying and selling. And so opportunities are there. But I also believe that one thing that the government would need to look at is to plan how to strategically locate markets and structures for such trading. They are beginning to get lacking. They are lacking in this FCT environment.
Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the program. Of course, there are so many issues to talk about on trade. Like, we'll still have you to discuss about taxation, but that will be at another time. It's been quite insightful speaking with Barrister Ken Ukoaha. He's a trade lawyer and president of National Association of Nigeria Traders. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the program.
You're welcome, Sikeola. Thank you.
That's the much we can take on the program today. You can also join us on our social media platforms. Till next week, same time, same station, I remain yours sincerely, Sikeola Ipinnaiye. Bye for now.